A whole city in ecstasy. After 33 long years, its football team is back to the promised land. Napoli are Italian champions again.
Nasci proprio con la passione azzurra, nasci con la voglia di andare allo stadio.
Napoli's first league titles were won with a certain Diego Armando Maradona. But soon after that success, his beloved club hit rock bottom. In 2004, Napoli went bankrupt and were relegated to the third division.
Il Napoli Maradona era morto.
But Napoli managed to claw its way back from the grave, reinvent itself, and fight its way back into the elite, step by step. They didn't just win the Italian league in 2023, they dominated it. And they also produced some eye-catching performances in the Champions League. So what has happened here? I came to Naples to find out just how Napoli has regained its status as an international powerhouse.
Questo scudetto non è lo scudetto del caso, è lo scudetto della programmazione, è lo scudetto delle idee.
Naples, Italy. Rich in history, which can be seen across the city. It's part of Italy's south, which is economically less developed than the country's north. This is also reflected in football terms. The Italian championship has long been dominated by northern teams, like Juventus here in the 1930s or Milan in the 1950s. Their victories were also down to, of course, money. Only one southern club had won Serie A, Cagliari in 1970. The North stole our wealth, that's what the first person I spoke to in Naples told me. And no, it wasn't this fellow. In the 80s, Napoli made a move that seemed almost unthinkable. They bought Barcelona's Diego Maradona for 12 million euros, which back in 1984 was an astronomical record amount. How was that possible? How could Napoli afford such a transfer? Journalist Antonio Corbo says the club emulated a trend. Italian football started to flirt with the financial world as well as another important sector.
Valorizzò l'elemento della politica e la Roma, grazie anche ad appoggi politici e a una buona conduzione societaria, vinse lo scudetto con l'Idolm e con Falcao in campo. Successivamente il presidente dell'epoca di Napoli, Ferlaino, copiò la Roma e diventò amico di tutti i potenti della politica. Sempre con l'aiuto della politica, il Napoli ha potuto acquistare Maradona.
The mayor of Naples at the time convinced the bank to advance the club 12 million euros, a sum they were able to pay back afterwards because Maradona delivered. With him, Napoli won the 1987 and 1990 championships and the 1989 UEFA Cup. A southern team had broken through the phalanx of the north. That alone would have been reason enough to party hard, but the city's deep emotional connection to football sparked days of joy in Naples.
Allora, innanzitutto va detto che questa è l'unica grande città che ha una squadra sola. Quindi il rapporto fra Napoli e il Napoli è fortemente identitario. Chi è tifoso di Napoli è tifoso del Napoli normalmente. Ricordo di una festa di fronte alla quale impallidisce anche il Carnevale di Rio.
Renato Russo, a diehard Napoli fan, remembers that carnival well.
Quello è stato davvero uno dei giorni più belli della mia vita. Sono rientrato a casa alle 7 di mattina e per una settimana, questa insomma, è una cosa abbastanza comica, ho avuto le caviglie gonfie così, perché ho ballato e saltato ininterrottamente per 12 ore.
The man largely responsible for this display of local pride was Maradona. His humble background and rebellious character resonated with Neapolitans. He became a sort of saint who brought justice to the city. In what many Neapolitans perceive as a centuries-old struggle against the North, winning the league was some sort of revenge. Out of the many Maradona shrines around town, this is by far the most impressive one. In this cafe, even the Argentinian's hair is on display. A guy bought for big money with the help of ruling politicians holds some Che Guevara-like status for Napoli supporters. That adulation remains even today. I met Renata in the stadium again for the match against Hellas Verona. She and her friend Lina come early on match days. They must not miss Maradona's song, which they and the other fans sing passionately. Life at Napoli lost some of its shine after Maradona left. In fact, it was the start of a downfall, which ended with the club in bankruptcy.
Il club non poteva avere più l'aiuto autorevole dei personaggi importanti della politica e scoppiò a Napoli Tangentopoli, cioè una serie di processi ai politici corrotti.
Napoli, already in debt, lost important political support. Relegation followed in the late 90s, and in 2004 the club were bankrupt and forced to play in Serie C. A passionate football city had dropped to the 3rd division. But then an unusual figure in football stepped in to save Napoli. Not an energy drink emperor, not an investment banker, but actually a film producer, Aurelio De Laurentiis. He does Italian movies, mostly comedies. So little wonder that he renamed the club Napoli Soccer after buying it for 29.5 million euros. But jokes aside, this relaunch was just what the people wanted.
È partito senza debiti. La prima partita Napoli-Cittadella in Serie C si è giocata con 55.000 tifosi sugli spalti.
Under the ownership of De Laurentiis, Napoli rejoined Serie A only 3 years later in 2007. He promised the club and its fans financial planning and stability, precisely what other Italian football moguls from the past lacked.
Berlusconi, Moratti, Agnelli mettevano soldi diciamo in maniera collaterale alla loro attività industriale. Se non avevi una multinazionale che appoggiava con forza, che consentiva le perdite.
Questo è un Napoli che si regge sulla imprenditoria pura. È l'imprenditore che anticipa i soldi e poi trova anche un suo utile.
So, Napoli's renaissance is also a business story. In a city that never let go of its football passion despite the purgatory of Serie C. The new Napoli quickly set out to create new heroes. Edinson Cavani, bought in 2010 for 17 million euros. In 2012, he helped Napoli win the Coppa Italia. The club was now definitely back from the dead. But the Scudetto, Italian football's ultimate prize, still proved elusive. Napoli were once again one of Serie A's top teams, and they also became regulars in Europe. Yet the big step on the domestic scene needed a bit more time. The old rivalry with Juventus was also reignited. Originally, it was Maradona versus Platini. Now there are new fights on the pitch. Like in 2018, when Napoli finished with 91 points, but Juventus won the title with 95. Napoli still feel aggrieved over referee decisions in that season. The 2023 title is seen as a revenge.
Questo deve essere in qualche misura anche il risarcitorio, nel suo bel gioco però, nel suo bel gioco, nel suo essere i migliori, risarcitorio di quello scudetto dei 91 punti del 2018 che ci fu tolto in maniera assolutamente becera e scorretta.
Crollava la Juventus, piena di debiti, perché la Juventus è crollata soprattutto per aver acquistato Ronaldo con una spesa che non è stata ripagata e hanno speso troppo e quindi sono saltati tutti i conti. Tanto è vero che c'è un'inchiesta giudiziaria su delle anomalie. De Laurentiis ha capito che bisogna abbassare la spesa degli ingaggi di 70 milioni che prima superava i 150 e riportare tutto ad un'amministrazione sobria, normale, compensata da che cosa? Dalla buona scelta dei giocatori.
The story of today's Napoli is closely linked to these two people, Cristiano Giuntoli and Luciano Spalletti. Let's start with him, Cristiano Giuntoli, who became Napoli's sporting director in 2015. Since then, Napoli finished runners-up 3 times in Serie A before their 2023 triumph. He got rid of legendary players of the club in 2022. Belgian Dries Mertens, Napoli's all-time top scorer, didn't get a new contract. Homegrown Neapolitan legend Lorenzo Insigne was also let go. Senegal international Kalidou Koulibaly was sold for 38 million euros, 6 times more than what he initially cost. It was a huge gamble and actually made Napoli supporters furious, but it paid off.
Cristiano Giuntoli ha pescato dei giocatori importantissimi. Osimhen al Lille in Francia, che è un nigeriano molto importante, un po' disordinato, involuto, che poi è stato disciplinato, e soprattutto Kvaratskhelia, che è un georgiano poco conosciuto, che è uno dei giocatori più forti d'Europa al momento.
Let's forgive Antonio Corbo for mispronouncing this guy's name. In today's Naples, there are always football pilgrims from Georgia that can help.
Kvaratskhelia.
Kvaratskhelia was transferred from Dinamo Batumi for only 10 million euros and turned into Serie A's king of assists. A sensational signing for very little money in modern football terms. Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen has developed into the masked face of Napoli. Perhaps not the most technical player, but his finishing and athleticism make him a lethal frontman. When Osimhen comes in, Napoli supporters in the stadium's Curva B go wild. Napoli are also solid in defense, thanks to Kim Min-jae, a name not many knew before. And of course, there's the coach, Luciano Spalletti, who arrived in 2021. His start at Napoli was rough. Trust in him wasn't enormous, and then his beloved Fiat Panda was stolen. By the Ultras, who knows? However, after poor performances, they sent a message. You can have the car back if you leave.
Spalletti replied, okay, I'll take the car back, but I want to know what state it's in. What's the mileage? Have the tires gone bald? And most importantly,
are the Pino Daniele CDs still in the player? Pino Daniele was this popular singer from Naples. The episode showed that Spalletti not only has a sense of humor, but also that he's self-confident. No club legend, no journalist and no ultra can tell him what to do. Daniele Bellini, Napoli's stadium announcer, says Spalletti gradually won over the fans with his personality.
Lui ha una mentalità molto dura, nel senso che per lui è, per dirti, è uno che magari arriva allo scontro anche verbale quando lo senti nelle conferenze stampa. Dice, per me si fa così. Ha detto una frase in conferenza stampa, uomini forti, destini forti. Uomini deboli, destini deboli.
And Spalletti's ultimate destiny was always the Scudetto. Napoli's players bought into his coaching, adapting to his selfless and responsive style of play. There are no prima donnas in his team. Smart scouting and sound financial investment have been key factors in the new Napoli. The team are a source of local pride again, like in the good old Maradona days.
Per noi questo scudetto è anche un riscatto sociale, perché purtroppo la città di Napoli viene denigrata molto e spesso quello che si fa vedere in televisione non è quello che è realmente la città.
Secondo me festeggiamo di più dell'Argentina, è soprannaturale il nostro festeggiamento.
Napoli has reached the top again in 2023. But is this model sustainable for the future as well?
Questo mi auguro scudetto non sia lo scudetto dell'outsider come è successo, che ne so, con Ranieri Leicester, no?
Al Verona.
Cioè al Verona tanti anni, però ecco, quella Leicester è una squadra, poi dopo effettivamente era un po' la Cenerentola del calcio inglese.
What do you think? Has Napoli found a formula to remain part of Europe's top teams? Or is another downfall like in the 90s on the horizon? Let me know in the comments. Mille grazie per essere stati con noi. And that actually means thanks for watching.